top topics are on the table with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
With Whoopi, she's getting her strength back and will be returning to the table soon, so that's good news. And there's the politics going on around us, of course. There are so many pressing issues America's facing right now. And what has Trump spent the last week defending himself against? That he didn't mistakenly refer to Apple's CEO Tim Cook as Tim Apple. Listen for yourself.
I used to say, Tim, you got to start doing it over here, and you really have. I mean, you've really put a big investment in our country. We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
Thank you, Donald President. So this was a week ago, and he's still making excuses. Okay? He still says he did it on purpose. He was trying to save time. So why can't he just admit that he made a slip of the tongue? He lied about his wealth, about his height and his weight, the crowd size, about his bone spurs, about how many votes he got. These are all, like, in a way, insignificant. Not the bone spurs, because that kept him out of the Army. I'd go on with this, but we only have an hour show here. So why does he lie about every single thing and double down on them? What is the matter with him?
Do you know what this reminded me of? Is I was doing a radio tour one time. I wrote a book with a comedian named Michael Ian Black, and I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but you're just on radio show after radio show after radio show, and I was exhausted, and I said, Michael and I have such a great rapport with one another, and I meant rapport, and I totally screwed up, and they were making fun of me, and I was like, let's get Michael Rappaport involved, and ever since then, I always say we have a great rapport.
But that you took the joke on yourself.
Always lean into it. Ted Cruz leaning into him being the Zodiac killer. Just lean into it. We all make mistakes. It's okay, but his inability to make fun of himself is...
Why?
I would be shocked if he did come out and laugh at himself, because, you know, a little humility goes a long way. We've all had those moments. There was a guy I used to work with whose name was Tim, and I called him Steve for whatever reason. I always thought his name was Steve. And to the point where now then the whole office called him Steve. It became this ongoing joke. We all have those moments.
Right.
And so I sympathize with him, especially being pregnant. I don't remember anybody's names. I can barely remember the names on this show.
Before he was...
I think two things. Number one, this cannot be Trump being tired, because between executive time and golfing, it can't be, blaming it on exhaustion.
No.
But remember, everything Trump does, because he is a narcissist, is called Trump.
Yeah.
So of course he thinks the guy's name is Tim Apple.
Oh, that's
and the CEO of Lockheed is Marilyn Lockheed. It's Trump Hotel, Trump Airlines, Trump Steak, Trump Vodka, Trump,
Trump Water.
Trump Mar-a-Lago.
But I think that the position has made him crazier, frankly. Because when he was on this show years ago, I must have told the story already, because everybody knows when Ivanka was here with him, he said on this show, he said, oh, she's so beautiful, something like that. If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her, something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, who are you, Woody Allen? And he actually thought that was funny. He actually laughed at that. And that's why I had no idea he was going to be such a bad president, because he seemed to have a little more sense of humor, a little bit of a sense of humor, and now he does.
Well, he hosted Saturday Night Live also, right? So he has been able to poke fun at himself, but lately he can't, and he's been a notorious liar. I think the Washington Post last calculated his lies as of December 30th, so it's been quite a while. But he's made 7,645 false or misleading claims over 710 days.
Can you imagine having that job?
I know, counting them, right?
I hope that person's getting hardship pay.
I know.
And then Sarah Sanders lies on top of his lies.
Yes,
so they just double the lies.
But of all the misstatements, this is one that you just kind of have to laugh about.
Silly.
I mean, this can't be a serious story. I mean, we can laugh about the fact that he doesn't have a lot of humility in these moments and can just laugh at himself. And I think he would be so funny if he were able to laugh, because there's so many statements that he makes that you could walk it back and make a joke about.
Abby, it's a serious story, because he's a liar, and he's in the position that he's in. Nobody knows what the truth is from him. We can't rely on him ever telling the truth. He's the president of the country.
I'm just saying with Tim Apple, that's one you can just.
I know, but he doesn't laugh at it. That's the
None of our
serious
lives
part.
are going to change based off him calling Tim Cook or Tim Apple.
No, but I think her point is, look, if he lies about such stupid, insignificant things that we should be laughing at, what doesn't he lie about? How does the country know the difference when the president of the United States is telling the truth or telling a lie when he lies about even the most insignificant things?
I think what Abby's trying to say, though, is this isn't new. Like, the fact that he lies a lot isn't new. We knew that during the election. We're 2.5+ years in. Like, okay, he's going to lie about something as stupid as Tim Cook being Tim Apple, which, by the way, Tim Cook has leaned into it. He put the Apple emoji as his Twitter account name now.
He has a sense of humor.
I mean, I think, but it's like, oh, and there's gambling in Casablanca and water's wet. Trump lies. Breaking news on ABC's The View this morning.
It's not about that.
But it's not about breaking news.
Why it's horrible. It's
whether
serious.
we know it or not, and I agree with you, we've known it all along. It still doesn't make it normal, and it still doesn't make it acceptable.
Explain that to the 46% that approve of the job he's doing right now.
I can't explain anything to them.
You know?
Let's do this story. A lot of Democrats are calling for Trump's impeachment. But Speaker Nancy Pelosi isn't one of them. She just told the Washington Post that he's, quote unquote, he's just not worth it. She says it will divide the country unless there's bipartisan support. A lot of Democrats disagree with her. What to say is the group?
I think you're right.
Everybody agrees with her? Sonny, you said you didn't.
Oh,
I don't agree.
It's okay, ma'am.
No, I don't agree. You know, I think that the House has to do its job, regardless if it doesn't go anywhere. And I think, you know, we all know that when you impeach a president, the House votes to impeach, but then the trial is held by the Senate. And because the House is run by Democrats, the House would likely impeach if they find high crimes and misdemeanors. The Senate would never convict him.
Not at this point.
At this point. I don't think at any point, honestly, because I think it's so partisan right now. So the Republicans are in charge of the Senate. It will go nowhere. But that doesn't mean that the House shouldn't do its job and make sure that the people of the United States feel confident that at least one branch will do the job.
There's one way to get Trump out of the White House. Democrats realize you just got to win. You got to win in 2020. It's as simple as that. And I think what Nancy Pelosi is doing is she's being the adult in the room, and I think she genuinely cares about the success of the Democratic Party. And she saw what happened to Republicans that focused on this under Bill Clinton. And
can I tell you that stat?
for them.
After the GOP impeached Clinton in 1998, his approval rating went to 73% because people felt sorry for him.
There you go.
The words of the wise is sufficient.
It was an impeachment election, though, in the midterms, and you have Rashida Tlaib saying impeach Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Veronica Escobar, Joe Nuggizi, and I think what Sonny is saying is accurate in the sense that there's a whole constituency that does want impeachment to go forward. But I will say this quote from her: "Our country is great. It's a great country. Our founders gave us the strongest foundation, and the challenges we have faced, we can withstand anything." I love that messaging, and I love that messaging from Nancy Pelosi because it's not that America's garbage. So the fact that Nancy Pelosi is saying things that's adhering to people like me means that she's playing some pretty smart politics.
Listen, she also left herself some wiggle room, and her quote is, "Unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path," meaning impeachment. Look, remember, you know, we all have the memory, those of us that are old enough, of the impeachment against Clinton for sex, basically perjuring himself over sex. I think what she's saying is, we are not going to impeach Donald Trump over paying hush money to a stripper. Now, if we find out that he's compromised by Russia, that he's a Russian asset, I assure you that falls under the something compelling and overwhelming.
And high crimes and misdemeanors. Yeah, but to Sonny's point, will the Republicans even go for it then?
I don't know.
They keep
question.
And that's the thing, you know, do you get a president out by voting? Of course, that's part of our process, but the Constitution is also very much so a part of our process, and the Founding Fathers wanted to make sure that we were protected as the American people against things like high crimes and misdemeanors.
Will you be satisfied, Sonny, if Mueller comes out and there isn't a direct link between Trump and Russia and the collusion?
I will be satisfied when the process works the way the process is supposed to work. So whether that be the Mueller report, whether that be
the Southern
District of New York, whether that be the constitutional process, I am a believer in the Constitution. I am a believer in law. I am a believer in justice. And I am a believer in process and the American people.
Okay. All right. Coming up, we want to talk about the tragic plane crash in Ethiopia. Should those planes still be allowed in the air? Because the United States has not grounded them, even though a lot of countries around the world have. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Now is the time for strong women to speak out. And when these women come together, ooh, watch out, because we have our views.
If we want to change, get out and make it.
We have our voices.
Every single one of us who have a moral compass have to speak up and listen to women.
I'm a sharp-tongued woman and proud of it. That's why when it's time to voice your view, this is where you come.
Breaking barriers is not easy, but it is worth it.
The only place in daytime taking it all on.
There's been a lot of healthy debate at this table. There are a lot of strong women around this table.
Proud of it.
View strong.
Be strong. Be bold.
All day long.
And that is why it's called The View.
On ABC. Still ahead. 5 Feet Apart stars Cole Sprouse and Haley Lou Richardson.
So a lot of people are rethinking their travel plans after the second deadly air disaster of the same model plane, the Boeing 737 MAX 8, is it? The MAX 8. Okay. Several countries have grounded them, and some senators want America to follow suit. But shouldn't Boeing keep them on the ground until they investigate what the problem is? Why not err on the side of caution in the United States? Many countries have done that already, including China.
You know, just before we got on air, Mitt Romney, so there were a couple of senators, Dianne Feinstein and Richard Blumenthal, who had already come out saying this, and Mitt Romney tweeted just before we got on air, out of an abundance of caution, just what you're saying, for the flying public, the FAA should ground the 737 MAX 8 until we investigate the causes of recent crashes and ensure the plane's airworthiness. Look, as you guys know, I fly every week. I'm scheduled to fly the MAX 8 back home to Miami on Friday. And so, you know, on behalf of all of us who fly on planes, we need to find out what is going on because the safety of people comes first.
You know what they should do? The airline the flight attendants and the pilots should just say, no, we're not flying. And then they can't fly them.
Because this is a new, recently new system.
Very unusual for two brand new planes to crash like that.
Well, it says that the MAX tends to pitch its nose. So when it's in manual, meaning the pilots are in control of flying it, the nose is pitched up because the engines are bigger. And so to combat that, the sensor naturally pushes the nose down if it thinks it's too high. This is new, apparently, and I'm not an expert on this, but according to this plane. And so the pilots have to rethink the way that they're flying it. And so, again, I don't know what, and they're not saying what caused this yet, but it seems like a lot more needs to be put into this for everyone to feel safe. I hate flying. I would rather take a train for 3 days than fly to Florida.
Crash too.
Really, I don't sleep the night before. I know.
The one thing in the house is dangerous.
But you can survive.
And yet more accidents happen in the home than anywhere else.
And in cars.
Maybe we should move.
But that's the thing. More accidents definitely happen in cars, and it's so rare to get an airplane accident, to get in an airplane accident, because I'm such a nervous traveler that I actually have taken courses on airplanes crashing. I know that sounds very crazy. Yeah, but I've actually had to take courses because I had such an extreme fear of flying. But what's interesting about this is most 737 airplanes have an accident rate of fewer than 1 in every 5 million departures.
Amazing.
But the accident rate of a 737 MAX, which has a more efficient engine, is now 6 or 7 times that. So, and there are only 24 of these planes in the U.S. So why not just ground the 24 planes? And the way Anna just described, in the U.S. the planes fly, they all fly to or from Miami. So just ground.
Forget it, Anna. You're not going home. Go ahead. Want to say something?
No, I just agree with why we should ground them if they're this dangerous. I'm not scared of flying at all. My father, and I know everyone's sick of stories about my father, but bear with me because this one's a good one. Whenever we would have a ton of turbulence, he would be like, I'm not dying in a plane, Megan. If I were going to die in a plane, I would have died in a plane already. And journalists tell this story too when he had it on. And so I was recently on a plane that it made it was like it landed on accident and like had to come back up, and there was all this turbulence, and then I said it, and I was like, my dad said we're not going out this way, and it calmed everybody down. So I don't care. I mean, I'll get on these planes, but I think maybe I've been mind screwed by my late father to think that that's not how I'm going to go out in this world.
My mother believed in predestination, so she used to say, don't be afraid to fly. When it's your time to die, you'll die. And I said to her, well, what if I'm on the plane and it's the pilot's time to die? Joy. Now what? Or somebody else on the plane.
But I don't want
that
people,
did not make sense.
I don't want people to misinterpret. It's entirely rational to be fearful of flying on this particular
This is rational.
I have the opposite viewpoint as you. When I get on, I look at someone, I'm like, they're not dying today. So, like, I'm going to be good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So do you have a guest room, Joy?
What?
You got a guest bedroom?
She does.
I do. You can come stay at my house. You're not getting on that plane until they ground these planes and get on another plane. JetBlue is flying JetBlue to Miami. Okay. Coming up, a politician is taking heat for dancing to an R. Kelly song. What do you think of that? We'll talk about that next.
Don't commit a technical foul. Get to viewyourdeal.com now. We partnered with vendors for at least half off high-tech solutions you'll use every day. So don't miss out.
So, Abby, you're apparently wearing the same outfit the royal whatever she is.
A producer just brought this out in the commercial break.
Oh, it's so pretty.
She wears it so much. I'm going to pull an anti-Trump and say she wears it so much better than me. I'm going to be self-deprecating because it's true.
Can I take a little credit for this? Because I said she needs to dress exactly like Meghan Markle.
Why?
Because I think she's nailing it.
We're like a month apart in our pregnancies.
The problem is she got nailed.
She looks beautiful.
She looks pretty great.
She does.
She has a little more help than I do, but our fashion team here, we are so lucky on the show.
You have the best people here who dress
We do, but when I leave the show, I'm in my sweatpants again. She has to wear that all day long.
Can you imagine the job here? They have to dress all these 5 bitches every day.
By our personality.
It's really hard to do.
And they do a great job.
She does it.
We're so lucky.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio is taking a lot of heat after New York One posted a video where he's dancing to the R. Kelly song, I Believe I Can Fly, in a South Carolina church. De Blasio's rep said he didn't know it was an R. Kelly song.
I didn't know that qualified as dancing.
Yeah, what is that?
He looks like he's flying himself to Miami.
But here's the thing. Why are they playing an R. Kelly song in a church?
And why are they doing that?
That I Can Believe I Can Fly, right?
Yeah,
is it appropriate for a church to be playing his song? I
don't think it's appropriate for anyone to be playing R. Kelly songs anymore. I think he's canceled.
Really?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Wow. I do.
So that goes for Michael Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, but I've said that's nothing new for me. I mean, I speak with my dollar. So if I disagree with a position, I don't support that artist, you know, and it's not necessarily a popular opinion, but I don't go to Woody Allen movies.
You don't disagree. You're judging. You're more judging against them.
No, I refuse to support an artist whose position or behavior I disagree with.
So you would never listen to Richard Wagner music then, because he was a Nazi sympathizer?
Yeah, no.
All right.
But this will be the one time that I'm not a de Blasio fan in terms of his political policies, but this is the one time you'll see me defending him. I don't think people should be judged off of other people's bad behavior and the choices that they make. The dancing was terrible.
So you don't think de Blasio?
No,
a 57-year-old white guy dancing to rap music is.
But what about the guy that turned on the song? Should we blame him too? Should we blame everyone in that room for dancing to it? I think we've gotten to a place where you can't wake up in the morning and breathe without being criticized by somebody.
But, you know, he said,
and that's a bad place to be. And I say this as a time when we are so politically divided. If you take the politics at times out of the situation and realize we don't need to personally attack people. You know, if you look at Trump, it's like you can always find a way to make fun of him. But if it were Obama out there, would you view it differently? I always try and look at it that way. Policy aside, just personal attack.
But this is not politics.
Well, back to de Blasio. I think, but
this is not politics.
I'm talking about de Blasio.
No, but and he said that he didn't know that the song was an R. Kelly song.
That's his most famous song, by the way.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Joy and I didn't know.
The choir was performing the song.
I mean, I don't understand why the choir would perform the song. I mean, the problem is R. Kelly has been front page news for a long time. He abused a lot, allegedly, but he's now been, I think, charged with 10 or more counts abusing young a lot of young African-American women, young girls they're women now, but under the age of 13 and 14. And so by supporting his music, he's making money. And that just can't stand in my view. You know, rape is one of the most underreported crimes in our country because victims feel that they will not be believed.
Right.
And to support a man like that, I think says a lot about our country. We have to stand up for victims in this country. And I just, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
So let's say you're in the situation and the whole place is, you know, doing this and singing the song and everything. Should you say, stop, I refuse. Well, I refuse to dance to this music.
If you're uncomfortable doing that, at the very least, you don't have to do that, right? You can just kind of be a conscientious dissenter.
Like, pro tip for any politician running for office, if you're not a really good dancer, you probably should just maybe sway a little, you know. I mean, don't eat anything on a stick. Don't, you know, be very careful about the hats you wear, and don't sing or dance unless you really know how to.
It's the ones that think they're a good dancer though that are that bad. That's the problem. It's all in your head.
Like me, I'm a terrible dancer. I don't dance any place. I'm terrible. I'm the white girl.
Are you like Elaine from Sonic?
Exactly, but worse, but exponentially.
Doesn't matter how many drinks you've had. Like,
no, I'm the worst. I mean, duck and cover, you guys. Start running out of here if I start dancing. All of it. Terrible.
Isn't Bill de Blasio like 6'5", man? He can't even hide.
I believe I can.
He's got wingspan.
I think they should have played "Fly Me to the Moon." Now that one he would have understood. Coming up, The Bachelor is here live tomorrow, and we're going to talk about what happened last night. We'll be right back. So Colton, the Virgin Bachelor, will be here live tomorrow. We'll see if he's still a virgin by this time tomorrow. So last night, he threw all the rules of the show out the window when he sent the top 2 finalists packing to go after Cassie, the woman who dumped him. Yes. But host Chris Harrison said he may want to face facts. Watch.
What if the bottom line is she's just not that into you?
I think, I feel like I have a pretty good gut instinct, and I feel like I could read people pretty well, and I think she loves me. I think she's scared to admit that.
First question tomorrow, can you take a hint?
She may be here, though. We don't know. It says on our list says Colton and TBD, so we don't know.
She may be showing up.
We don't know because the 2-hour finale is. Of course, I'm the only one on the show that watches.
Oh, I didn't even see that on our list.
It's the finale tonight, and he's already said goodbye to the other 2 girls because clearly when he jumped that fence, he was like, my heart is only with Cassie. And we are waiting to see if she is going to return the favor and give him another chance. So be on the edge of your seat, people.
Can I say the story? So Abby, as you can see, is super fan of The Bachelor. The rest of us, not so much. Joy and I completely on a different planet. So when she said Colton was a virgin, Joy literally thought, what? John Bolton is a virgin? And I said, you know, that makes a lot of sense.
My hearing's a little off.
Children. Well, I was saying, because Scottsdale's in the house, we got some people from Scottsdale, when Ari went on the show and desecrated our state's reputation by dumping a woman on live television. Yeah, I'm still angry about that, Ari. By the way, ever since, remember he came on here and was holding hands with the lady? And I can't stand him. And ever since, and I made our state look bad. Like, all men from Scottsdale are bad. So ever since that happened, I've kind of been done with The Bachelor. And Colton, though, I was talking to my 21-year-old niece, Rebecca, last night, who's obsessed with the show as well. Colton follows me on Twitter. And I don't really know why. He doesn't follow a lot of people on
we're going to have to clear this up.
So all of a sudden, I'm a big fan of Colton's. And thank you for following me on Twitter. And I'm really excited to hear what he has to say.
But when does a Lothario become a stalker? That's the question.
Yeah, because he's almost
I took an adjacent lane in that one. Sorry.
That's right.
I felt sorry for him when the guy says, you know, maybe she's just not into you. I don't know. That seemed.
It's the question we all wanted to know, though.
Yeah. It's not sad.
Because she said
it's like, get with the program. Wake up.
Really?
I
don't know.
No,
I will say.
And her father doesn't like you either.
But now well, that's the thing. It's almost crossed over into stalker-esque a little bit. Like
he's coming in tomorrow. That'd be nice. Right? I'll be nice. Don't worry, Cole.
By the way,
he was climbing a wall last week.
no, he jumped the wall.
He jumped the wall
because she dumped him.
He was so angry because she said she had doubts and she couldn't do it anymore. What I will say is defend. She had doubts.
I can't.
She had doubts. And by the way, he may clarify.
And the father wouldn't give permission,
Bolton
right?
has doubt. That's what I'm hearing. John Bolton
It's not
has
John
doubt.
Bolton.
Sorry.
To clarify, he may be here. All it says is TBD, but we're also told he may be here by himself. So we literally know nothing. If anyone's trying to find out, it's me.
By our list, Abby, you exposed yourself.
But I will say, I realized that I needed to marry my husband when I told him we needed a break, because it was in that moment, and that's when she told him, I can't do this, when he said that he realized in his heart that's the woman that he loved.
When you dumped him, you realized?
When I said we need a break, I felt like I was going to die. The thought of him not being in my life was the worst feeling ever. Oh, no, it's true. And that's when I realized I need to be with this man for the rest of my life.
You know what? Tomorrow when the virgin comes here, I'm going to give him a dose of a little psychotherapy.
Because don't scare the man. Don't scare the man.
Come tomorrow, Colton. We'll help you.
Don't you feel sorry for the virgin?
I'm excited for him.
Yes, I do.
No, he's about to experience like the best moment of his life.
I'm excited for losing your V cards.
I feel sorry.
The best experience of your life.
Okay, I gotta go. We'll be right back.
That was Joy's favorite.
Cole Sprouse and Haley Lou Richardson on Love, Loss, and their new movie, 5 Feet Apart. They're live on The View. Next.
Called 5 Feet Apart. Please welcome Cole Sprouse and Haley Lou Richardson.
I just said to him, you don't have to kiss everybody.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
He said, not unless I'm invited.
And we didn't get him because, you know, she's pregnant and I'm fat. We don't have mobility on these chairs.
But Haley, I'm so sorry. We were talking about The Bachelor. I didn't realize that we might have spoiled last night for you.
Yeah, I was back there like this. But I did. Yeah, I heard said goodbye to the 2 other women, and I.
Apologies.
I was really sad because I really liked.
I guess it wasn't true love.
No. Surprise. Well, you guys are both busy. Cole, you are incredibly busy. You also play Judge Head on Riverdale. People love you on that show. But I know you from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody with your twin brother, Dylan.
I don't even know which one I am.
You mean there's 2 of you?
Yeah, so he's a twin brother. I need just quickly some advice. Pregnant with twins. How much do you love being a What tips can you give me, any?
No, after a certain point, they just kind of raise themselves. Please, 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 please do not be the mother that dresses them the same.
Okay, that's
Please.
good.
Did you
On behalf of twins everywhere, yes. It was part of our routine for the longest
Do you
time.
mean you're your own person?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, but yes. No, yeah, please don't dress them the same.
Which one's that one?
I don't know.
A little scrawnier?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
They identical?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's young Guy Fieri on the right over there.
Young Guy Fieri.
So until what age were you dressing the same? Like, did she stop by the time you hit 22?
Yeah. When we went to college, we finally stopped. No, it was like overalls and sailor outfits for far too long. See, that kind of empathy is the problem.
At least it's a boy and a girl, so I have a little.
Okay, yeah, that.
Abby's corny as hell. She's definitely going to do it. Sorry, I love you, but you're definitely going to do it. But
I feel like you
Haley,
can't not. What's the point of having twins?
That's the fun.
Yeah.
Haley, we have the most important thing in common.
I mean, how can you not? You're going to have twins. How do you not? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I agree. She's going to do it anyway. She's not going to take your advice. I'm sorry. But we have the most important thing in common of all things. We're both from Phoenix.
Arizona.
Right? Ride hard for Arizona. What is your favorite thing about being from Arizona? And I asked to ask this question.
I love Arizona.
Thank you.
Because Arizona is so cool and it looks like Mars.
Yes, it does.
Sedona is the coolest place in the world.
Yes, it is.
And actually, you feel like a Martian. when you're there, because it looks like Mark.
Thank you for answering that question for me. I just always want some people from Arizona to know that we love and respect them.
Yeah.
All right, Haley, so you posted the cutest picture of you and your fiancé, Brett, but you follow it up with 2 more pictures, and we're showing them because we need to understand what's happening there.
Yes.
So that's 1 picture, that's 2 pictures.
Yes.
Who was that? Her fiancé?
Yeah.
Let me
That's
tell
his
you,
thing
that's some pretty impressive suction power.
I think he's only with
why
me
they're getting
because
married.
my cheeks. For real. I mean, like, he loves cheeks. He used to have one of those, like, dogs, you know, what is it called? A French Mastiff or something? With, like, the saggy cheek. And he would do that to his dog. And then he said when he saw me, I reminded him of his dog.
That's a lot of
That is so romantic.
Isn't it
First
sweet?
sight.
Yeah.
And you got engaged to him. You guys got engaged last year, but you flipped the roles. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I asked him to marry me. Yeah, and I didn't do it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be like this cool woman and like ask the guy. I didn't really plan it. I just like, it was this out of body
What did you say? Exactly.
Well, I said, do you want to marry me? But it was the place that we were at, what we were doing that was just bizarre. It wasn't like, again, wasn't like a romantic, not really romantic. We were at this strip mall, by our house, this outdoor strip mall, and he was eating pizza and reenacting some very bizarre Shia LaBeouf interview. He's a bizarre guy, whatever, and very talented. But, and I just looked at him and asked him if he wanted to marry me.
Did you have a ring?
No, but we did tie supple twigs from a bush nearby around our ring fingers, and we have them saved, and then now my ring is engraved like a twig.
Yeah. Sweet. See?
All right, let's see the
I like that.
It's really simple, but it's a twig.
And look at her nails.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I have Indians on my fingers.
Well, you two you star in a new film, which I saw, 5 Feet Apart. PSA for the audience. It's a beautiful movie, but it is also an ugly cry movie. Tell everyone what it's about.
Oh,
it's
because I ugly cried.
It's about 2 young patients with cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis is a disease that requires you to stay at least 6 feet apart from other people with cystic fibrosis. And by the nature of kind of opposites attract, the 2 fall in love with one another and end up kind of being the perfect people for each other at that period of time. It's ultimately a story about star-crossed lovers and a set of rules that they live within. But one of our mission statements was to really bring an awareness and representation to the cystic fibrosis community. So it's really
an amazing movie. Whew, and the ugly cry. We have
that wants to live.
Do you guys do comedy also? Huh? Do you do comedy also? Because that's a sad story, but you guys, you're naturally both very funny.
We are?
It's sad, but it's like a very sweet love story, though.
But it's a sad story. I mean, I'm just wondering if you do comedy, but...
Well, I mean, on set, we had to remain as respectful and professional as possible, so a kind of levity wasn't with us at all points, just to stay in that emotional context. But,
But it was at times, because when things are so heavy, you kind of have to, like, it's the natural thing, which is how it is with people with CF. Like, they're, first of all, they're kids first and people first. They're not defined by CF. And then I think the fun times we had filming the movie that are reflected in the movie, like, make them look like actual just teenagers, which is
And the other sad thing that I will bring up is that Luke Perry, your co-star in Riverdale, passed away at 52 last week, and I heard that the show is doing something to honor him. What is that?
Well, I can't go too much into the spoilers of it, but we do have something planned narratively, but we've dedicated some of the episodes to him, and I'm sure that you guys had met him at one point.
Yeah. We did. He's been on the show.
He was a very
sweet, adorable guy.
Oh, very well loved. I mean, the whole world is mourning his passing, but he was one of those guys that would rather have us all laughing about his great stories than mourning for too long. But out of respect for the privacy of his family, you know.
Okay.
Will you guys come back? We adore you. And so do all the young women that showed up today. Aren't they?